They say a mother's love is unconditional.
Get down! Get down!
And these interspecies baby mamas are living proof.
I've never quite seen a bond like this before.
Good morning.
Meet the incredible people and animals who defy instinct and adopt babies in need. A Clydesdale horse ranch in Coldwater, Canada has 6 horses. One is a Clydesdale foal named Legacy.
A lot of people say that Clydes are the friendliest breeds. They're pretty level-headed. They're smart. Like they're very people person. They call them gentle giants.
As this 6-month-old heads out to the yard, her unusual mom follows right behind. She's a dairy goat named Buttercup. These two are frolicking around now. But a difficult time brought them together. After Legacy's birth 6 months ago, her biological mother had complications.
She was in a lot of pain, so we ended up putting her down. And it left Legacy all alone.
Newborn foals need to nurse every 20 minutes. To keep the foal alive, Emily and Matt Welsh had to get creative. They adopted Buttercup, a dairy goat. But would Legacy accept her unlikely mother?
We led her up to Buttercup and kind of just pushed her head in a certain direction to try and get to the udder. And it worked, and she took off to the races.
Good girl, Buttercup.
Buttercup nursed the foal,
That's a good girl.
and the duo forged a close friendship.
Yeah.
I've never quite seen a bond like this before, ever, between any sort of animal. I just was surprised how fast Buttercup took the motherly role.
Half a year later, this pair shares everything.
They eat out of the same container, they eat the same hay, they drink out of the same water dish, and they're in the same field together. So they're together 24/7.
Though still a youngster, Legacy's grown to 44 inches. She now towers over her surrogate mom.
Clydesdales are one of the tallest breed of horses, and Clydesdale foals grow rapidly. By the age of 2, they've grown into about 90% of their adult size, gaining up to 3 pounds per day. Fully grown, Legacy may be up to 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh 2,000 pounds.
Since Clydesdales grow so large, Buttercup is usually kept apart from the other horses on the ranch. But this giant is mindful of her mini mom.
Legacy is very careful with Buttercup. There's a crazy difference in size between the two of them, but she doesn't push her over or lay on her or anything like that. She's very aware of where Buttercup is.
Likewise, Buttercup always keeps a watchful eye on her adopted daughter.
If Legacy wanders away in the field, Buttercup will be right behind.
Goats are natural guardians, especially mothers. They'll fight to protect their young. And it looks like Buttercup is taking her role very seriously.
Come on, guys.
As Legacy's growing up, she's entering the horse equivalent of her teen years.
Legacy's kind of that rebel child now. She's getting a little cocky and adventurous, kind of on her own. Usually the mother is the boss and the foal does what they're told, but in this case, Legacy's bigger, so I guess she's kind of the boss.
Despite the reversed roles and attitude, Buttercup still provides maternal care for the foal. When Legacy wants an additional snack, Buttercup climbs up her custom-built ramp and nurses her.
Legacy's on full food now. She doesn't need the milk to survive anymore.
Goat's milk and horse's milk is very similar. Both are rich in nutrients and fat. So a goat can be a viable foster mother for a horse. At 6 months old, Legacy is still suckling at Buttercup, but it's probably mostly for comfort.
If Buttercup were a horse, this mother-child duo would be weaned off and separated.
If you had a mare and a foal, at 6 months, you want to separate them so the mare can dry up and the foal can start on regular feed. But we're not going to separate them. We don't want to cause any of them any anxiety.
Matt and Emily knew that Legacy needed a role model of her own kind. So they adopted a 4-month-old Clydesdale named Rock.
Legacy needed another horse just to learn to be a horse. Rock definitely teaches her just social aspects of being a horse. As soon as Rock came, he taught her itching each other's backs. He was really good with her, stuff that Buttercup couldn't do.
While Legacy and her new playmate run around, Buttercup defends her role.
It is a little bit of a love triangle, yeah.
When Rock starts playing, Buttercup just kind of steps in like a mother and protects Legacy. Like, just as if to say, you know, don't hurt her.
Like a mother sending her kid off to school, Buttercup will eventually have to let go of Legacy.
She can have babies next spring, and then she can kind of concentrate on her babies opposed to Legacy, and Legacy can start thinking about being a horse.
But this pair will always share a special bond.
Buttercup and Legacy will definitely be friends forever.
In the Golden Hills of Santa Clarita, California, Christy Ferguson and her son Ethan Wolf live on a ranch with a flock of exotic birds.
You want to go feed them?
One of them is Ethan's surrogate baby,
Good morning, Peepers.
a 2-year-old emu named Peepers.
The highlight of Ethan's morning is when he runs down and gets to visit Peepers. He loves visiting her. Peepers is my baby emu. I like Peepers this much. Here she comes. Ethan and Peepers were instant best friends. Ethan really lights up when he sees Peepers. He calls her Peepers and baby emu. She'll always be a baby emu to him, no matter how big she gets.
Ethan met Peepers after the baby emu hatched on the family's farm. In the emu world, the male parent raises emu offspring for the first 18 months. But Peepers' dad was inexperienced and deserted his brood.
Peepers was this little.
Christy brought Peepers inside to keep her alive. Ethan, who was then 2 years old, took charge as the bird's unlikely caretaker.
Ethan took on that role very seriously. He always wanted to be the one to feed her. He always wanted to be the one to make sure she had a blanket. So she imprinted to him.
Peepers bonded with Ethan out of instinct. Young animals attach to another animal or a person within the first weeks of their lives. The emu grew strong, and she became Ethan's playmate.
They would spend their days playing together. If he was driving his tricycle, they would sit down and have snacks together. Ethan and Peepers would come down and help us feed all the animals. Peepers was always following him. We wanted to keep her as active as possible, and Ethan was great with helping with that.
Is that your friend?
Yes.
Is that a baby emu?
As an only child who had often played by himself, Ethan embraced Peepers' company. The emu was the first close friend Ethan spent constant time with.
I love Peepers Peepers because I love to play with her. It made the relationship so much more special, and the bond, it made it so much stronger. And he really looked out for her, and they looked out for each other. They were both very young, so it was two toddlers together. Sometimes they would get a little feisty with each other, but it was so wonderful to watch them work through that and learning about each other. Oh, here she comes.
Spending time with Peepers also taught Ethan important life lessons.
I think the baby emu taught him a lot of responsibility. Peepers gave him a lot of confidence in the fact that he could care for her, gave him a lot of skill and compassion for smaller creatures. My favorite thing about Ethan and Peepers' relationship was the fact that my 2-year-old son showed compassion. It's not often you get to see toddlers consider other living creatures above themselves.
But Ethan and Peepers' special relationship was about to change forever. Two-year-old Ethan Wolf helped raise Peepers the emu when she imprinted on him. But when Peepers was 3 months old, she outgrew her young caretaker.
When she was getting bigger and stronger, she would peck him, and it would hurt him. And there came a point where she was eye level with my son. I became very concerned. I had to step in as a mom and put some limits on their relationship. It was difficult at first, not having her with us the whole time.
Emus are the second largest bird in the world after ostriches. They can grow to be over 6 feet tall. And they're attracted to shiny objects, so standing face to face with them can be dangerous.
These playmates needed their own space.
When we had to separate Ethan and Peepers, it was extremely hard. Ethan would always ask me to open the cage and let her out. The one who took it the hardest was Peepers. That was the person she always wanted to be with.
While Peepers joined the other emus, Ethan remained her best friend.
We definitely wanted her to acclimate to the herd and to have the life of an emu. She always wanted companionship, and her first choice was always Ethan. We made sure Ethan saw her several times during the day to give her some comfort.
Today, Peepers lives with her own kind across the street from Ethan.
Good morning, Peepers.
Good morning, Peepers.
The visits are extremely important to Ethan, and it's so important for him to see that the hard work that he did is paying off, that he did a great job with caring for her, and now she can have that great life. It means the world to Ethan. It lights up his day.
These unusual pals still find a way to play together.
Say, come on, Peepers, let's go.
Come on, Peepers, let's go. I like racing Peepers because I like her running with me. She's a little bit slower than me.
Ethan and Peepers love to race. They love running up and down the fence line, having some healthy sibling competition.
Oh, she's faster now.
Emus are flightless birds, but they can actually run up to 30 miles an hour. It's pretty impressive.
While Ethan may not keep up with his feathered friend's growth and speed, their bond is still strong.
She's the only emu that we have that interacts with Ethan. Whenever we're down here, wherever Ethan is, that's where Peepers is. Ethan is still that #1 person. He comes #1 in her book. Got the hose?
Ethan knows his emu baby's favorite pastimes well.
They like baths.
His favorite part of his special time with Peepers is when he gets to turn the hose on. Peepers loves the water, doesn't she?
She loves the water on her back.
Peepers will roll around in the mud. She'll play in it. She'll groom her feathers. Got you.
Ethan and Peepers might live on different sides of the fence now, but as far as their relationship is concerned, they're still on the same page.
Good night, Peepers.
Good night, Peepers. Peepers.
They worked through their differences together, and as a mother, that made me extremely proud. No matter how old they get, no matter how much their lifestyles change, they're still gonna be best friends.
I like Peepers tons. Good night, Peepers.
Good night. We'll see you later, huh?
At the Cincinnati Zoo, one animal has a special job. He helps raise his furry friends. Meet Blakeley, the resident nursery dog.
Blakeley's job here at the zoo is to be a nanny to the babies. He sits with them, he socializes them, he's a nurturer, he teaches them animal behavior, what's appropriate behavior for them.
Blakeley's been the surrogate parent for the zoo's abandoned offspring for nearly 5 years.
The babies don't learn the proper social skills because they don't have other animals to play off of and to learn from.
In captivity and in the wild, many first-time animal mothers reject their newborns.
Motherhood in animals comes with a learning curve. Sometimes first-time mothers are anxious and agitated, and they might abandon their offspring.
The Australian Shepherd brought the right qualities to the table to look after and train the baby animals.
I got him from a rescue when he was 7 months old. He's got a great disposition. He likes to be around people. He likes to be around other animals.
So far, the caring pup has helped raise an array of animals. Foxes, a wallaby, a warthog, and even a serval. Another of his surrogate children was a young ocelot named Santos. Blakeley took this dwarf leopard under his care when the kitten was only 3 days old. He chased, wrestled, and played with the newborn. These activities are vital to a young animal's development and socialization.
Big time with babies is when they first see another animal, they don't know what to do and they get scared and either run from it or coward or they'll charge it. So by him interacting, playing, he won't be so intimidated or scared.
After 12 weeks of schooling, Santos was well adjusted and returned to the cat habitat. Blakeley is patient and calm with each of his babies.
He takes all the chewing and the hair pulling. They climb on him and they bite him. He takes everything from whatever baby we have.
When the kids get too rough, Blakeley corrects their behavior.
If they hit too hard or if they bite too hard, he'll discipline them. He can take his hip and hit them on the side. Sometimes he sits on top of them until they give in. He might bark at them. He teaches them things that I can't teach them as a human being. He teaches them animal behavior, what's appropriate behavior for them.
3 months ago, an extra large baby needed a foster mom. How could Blakeley help this giant? Australian Shepherd Blakeley is the nursery dog at the Cincinnati Zoo. He comforts and trains abandoned animal babies. His latest surrogate child is a 3-month-old Takin named Dale.
Good morning, big boy. Here's your buddy.
Dale's from the Himalayas of China, up in upper mountains. It's a goat antelope type. We got Dale when he was about 4 hours old. Blakeley knows as soon as something comes to the door, that's his kid. And he'll just immediately go in and sit with it, and he'll spend 24 hours a day so he can keep an eye on it.
3 months later, Dale is thriving. A lot of his well-being is thanks to Blakeley's nursing skills.
He's done a great job. Dale knows how to interact with other animals.
This Asian goat antelope now weighs over 100 pounds. And he outsizes his nanny by 70 pounds.
When he's full grown, he'll be roughly 5 feet at the shoulder, roughly around 400 pounds.
Despite Blakeley's smaller stature, he's still in charge.
He has his own little cues that he says, knock it off, in animal language.
Every day, Blakeley tags along on Dale's exercise. He keeps his big baby calm and collected.
Dale needs to walk because he's a mountain goat. He needs that upper body strength. Blakeley comes along as he's a comfort. If there's a cart or something that Dale's not sure about, as long as Blakeley's calm, Dale will be calm. Dale, you hungry? Hey, buddy.
After the workout, it's time to recharge.
Dale, you're messy. You're a mess.
Only 3 months old, Dale still bottle feeds. This growing takin needs to consume over 5,000 calories each day. This means Dale drinks about 120 ounces of goat milk and eats a pound of grain daily.
Blakeley, get the leftovers.
Even Dale's observant nanny snags some drops.
He's a good boy.
Blakeley's keeping a watchful eye on his kid now. But when Dale's grown up, he'll rejoin his herd.
He'll be going back down to the canyon where his parents are. They are herd-type animals, so we're hoping to get him back in for the winter so he can finish growing up being a takin.
Dale, what are you doing?
But for now, Dale's got his nanny's loving care and his shoulder to lean on.
I'm really proud of Blakeley. He does great work. He far exceeded my expectations of anything he could ever do.
This farm in High Ridge, Missouri is a pet's paradise. Some sleep inside, where Dawn Wegener starts her day.
Alex, ready to go to the barn? Let's go see Joplin.
There are 80 other animals here, but one in particular is near and dear to Dawn's heart.
Ready to come out? Hi, Joplin. I know. It's a good boy.
It's a donkey named Joplin.
Let's put your halter on. Joplin is our little donkey. There you go. When we brought Joplin home, he had no one. Here, Bubby. My sweetie. I know.
While Joplin's free to roam the farm, he follows his 2-footed surrogate mom wherever she goes.
Stay here. Joplin wants to be with me all the time. So wherever I am, that's where he is.
These two have been inseparable since the day they met 4 years ago. Dawn's niece found the newborn donkey near death in a pet store. Donkeys are supposed to stay with their mom for 6 months, so Dawn knew she had to step in.
He was not properly cared for. I put him in the back of my SUV. I brought him in the house because it was cold. He could hardly stand up. He was so weak. He weighed less than 20 pounds. We fed him every 2 hours, probably for a week.
The unlikely friends bonded deeply.
I connected with him on an emotional level because I understood his pain. And he obviously was by force separated from his mother. I grew up in a very abusive home and didn't have much parental care.
Dawn and her husband, Chris, took turns caring for the 4-hooved newcomer.
He wasn't very big at all. He'd go to sleep in my arms. I mean, he was that small.
Are you hungry, Bubba?
And soon, another unlikely caretaker stepped in to help. When Dawn Wegener heard of a baby donkey near death,
Hi, Joplin.
she decided to take in and raise the helpless newborn.
I know.
And she got some help from an unlikely source. Alex, her white lab.
There you guys go. When we brought Joplin home, he immediately started licking him and grooming him and curled up next to him, slept beside him every night. When Joplin got bigger and healthier, then they started playing together.
But the donkey had already formed a strong bond with his human mom.
Animals like donkeys imprint within the first few weeks of their lives. This means they establish a behavior pattern or attraction to an animal of their own kind, like their mother, or in this case, a specific individual, Dawn.
Come on, this way.
Joplin's always on Dawn's heels when she makes her rounds.
He follows me all day long, from the time he gets up in the morning until, stop it, until he gets put away at night.
This fellow is a curious character. Dawn never knows what he's up to next.
Joplin controls me, I think, more than I control him. I wish I had known how to train a donkey before I got him. Joplin is playing. This is how donkeys play. Tremendous amount of energy. It was really cute and fun when he was very, very tiny. Now that he's so much bigger, it's not quite so much fun for me, but he has a high time.
Though Joplin started sleeping in the barn at 6 weeks old, during the day, he still has house privileges.
Come on, let's go. We did not teach Joplin how to open the doors. He started doing that when he was about a year old, all on his own. And so if we want to keep him out, now we have to throw the deadbolt. And he actually went in the house one day and locked my husband out.
In fact, he's quite a mischievous house guest.
It's all right. Joplin will spend a fair amount of his time inside, just cruising. No, we don't do that. See if there might be a little something here that he can eat. Stop, Joplin. He counter surfs. He's at just the right height. Don't eat that. Kind of skim the counter, look for anything that there might be to eat.
Donkeys are very smart animals. They're known to be easily trainable and even to follow voice commands. While Joplin is capable and crafty, he seems to be a little bit more of the rambunctious type.
Donkeys are also very affectionate. At the end of the day, this family enjoys some tactile play.
Get Dad. Come get Dad. Get Dad. Get Dad. Get Dad. Get Dad. Not me. You're supposed to get Dad.
Come here, buddy. Joplin is more of a family member. Some days he's just a bad kid. Other days he's just wonderful to have around and very amusing.
You're just a big baby, aren't you?
The fact that he's going to be around for at least 30 years, it's going to be a lifelong friend.
I'll get behind you. No.
It's an unlikely friendship destined to last.
Our plans for him are for him to just have a very long, healthy life. No. It's time to go to bed. I need him as much as he needs me. Good night, sweetie. Come on, Alex.
Vancouver, British Columbia, a beautiful Canadian city framed by mountains and the sea. It's the perfect home for Elaine Hu's tender-hearted Airedale Terrier, Sunshade. Every morning, Sunshade checks on her babies. But these aren't your normal pups. They're guinea pigs.
Sunshade took on the motherly role of, giving love, affection, and protection to those piggies. Sunshade loved guinea pigs, period. With each new addition, she showered them with attention and love. It almost looked like a mother dog nursing puppies, except they were guinea pigs.
It's clear that Sunshade has nothing but love for these guinea pigs. Even if her nephew Jaffa doesn't share her affection.
Jaffa's reaction towards the guinea pigs right from the start was very different than Sunshade. She didn't like how excited or hyper that Jaffa got around the guinea pigs, so she didn't let him near them.
For Jaffa, it's only natural for the little critters to bring out the predator in him.
Airedale Terriers were originally bred to hunt rats and other rodents. So it is really odd that Sunshade has taken a liking to guinea pigs because they themselves are rodents. All I can think is that guinea pigs don't really look like rats. They've got big eyes and cute faces, and so maybe Sunshade is seeing them more like puppies than she is as prey.
Ironically, that killer instinct brought Sunshade and the guinea pigs together when she was recruited by a local pet store to sniff out wild mice. After her work was done, Sunshade would stop at the guinea pig cages and stare for hours.
She would basically just wait there until they come out from their hutches, and she'd watch them wag her tail. It was just total curiosity, fascination, and just wanting to be friends. Is that the piggy cage?
Sunshade seemed to have developed a fascination with the little furballs. But Elaine had no way of preparing herself for what happened next. Elaine Hu's dog, Sunshade, was obsessed with guinea pigs. But then, Elaine was hit with devastating news.
Sunshade got cancer when she was almost 11 years old. The treatment wasn't successful, so we didn't know how long she still had. And that's when I decided that I'm gonna give her something that was gonna bring up her spirit and make her happy for however long she had.
Elaine decided to bring home guinea pigs. First, she got Meatball. Then, Sesame. Sunshade was in piggy heaven. A few months later, Meatball and Sesame unexpectedly had 3 babies. Squeaky, Ketchup, and Dumpling. Sunshade was over the moon.
We just ended up taking all 3 out, put them on the bed with her, and she just licked and licked and licked them. When dogs are content, they give out this sigh. It was very, very sweet.
The guinea pig family grew up under Sunshade's watchful eye.
It was amazing for me to see how nurturing and motherly she was with those guinea pig babies, because in real life, she never had puppies herself.
When one of the piggies, Ketchup, suddenly died, Sunshade's grief was heartbreaking. Sunshade spent hours by Ketchup's grave.
That entire day, she laid by the grave, and there was just that overwhelming sadness. She used to love her walks. I couldn't get her to move away from the grave.
Dogs like Sunshade are definitely capable of mourning and grieving. They form incredibly close bonds with their people and with other animals. And when those bonds are suddenly broken, they grieve and they mourn for them just like we do.
As life went on, Sunshade continued to shower the remaining guinea pigs with love.
Good girl.
Unfortunately, Sunshade's cancer kept spreading. She continued to rely on her guinea pigs for comfort, even in the hospital.
When we went to visit her, she didn't really want to eat. There was no light in her eyes. So the second time that I went back to visit her, I decided to bring a guinea pig for her. I think having the guinea pig there really brought her spirit up.
Sunshade passed away in May 2014. For Elaine, her memory lives on. Although she's gone, Sunshade's wholehearted ability to love another species will stay with Elaine forever.
People loved that connection that she had. It showed the love on a different level, interspecies. And I had people saying that, well, if animals can do this, why can't people love each other and we all get along? That was very special. And she'll always be in my heart.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. At the local Humane Society, wildlife rehabilitator Crystal Charlo Schaefer tends to many rescued animals.
Good morning. He has a nice full belly, so he ate pretty well.
We care for sick, injured, and orphaned wild animals, and our goal is to release those patients back into the wild.
Crystal has an unusual surrogate offspring who sits right on her shoulder.
Oh, he yawned.
A big brown bat named Warren.
Good morning.
Warren is an adult, full-grown big brown bat.
Despite his species name, Warren's a tiny guy.
I jokingly say he is about the size of a fun-sized candy bar.
Warren's lucky to be alive. Tragic events led to his rescue.
Warren was originally admitted to our wildlife hospital as a patient. He was a juvenile pup. He had been orphaned. He was found on the ground and had a head injury.
The abandoned bat needed around-the-clock care, so Crystal brought him home to hand-feed him every 6 hours.
He was dehydrated, he was underweight, and had all sorts of just issues associated with not being fed.
After 2 weeks, Warren's health improved. Crystal hoped she could release Warren back into the wild, but the odds were stacked against him.
We knew he had neurological damage because he had a head tick. So what that means is that his head essentially moved and rotated a bit.
As a consequence, Warren couldn't fly. But flying is a key skill for a wild bat's survival.
All bat species in Wisconsin are insectivorous, which means they feed on insects. And they catch their prey in mid-flight. So a bat that can't fly, can't eat, and it won't survive.
After 6 months of failed flight, Warren was declared non-releasable.
That was very hard for me. Every patient I want to see released. That is our goal. That's our entire purpose for being here.
Luckily, there was a silver lining to Warren's struggles.
After I accepted that Warren was non-releasable, that changed our relationship.
And there our little munchkin is.
I could interact with him freely. He became like a cuddle bug.
Now, Crystal and Warren spend every weekday together. While Crystal works, Warren hangs out on her shoulder.
He can hear my heartbeat, he can hear me breathe, he hears me talk. It's just a form of bonding.
In return, Warren helps Crystal in unexpected ways.
My blood pressure is probably lower. You know, he's essentially a confidant. Maybe I'm unsure how to handle a situation. He's a great guy to have there and pause and think.
But Warren isn't just a calming sidekick.
So here's Warren.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
He's Crystal's co-worker. Warren, a rescued big brown bat, suffered from neurological damage and couldn't be released back into the wild. So wildlife rehabilitator Crystal Charlo Schaefer took him under her wing.
Are you guys ready to learn about bats?
Yeah. Okay.
Today, Warren is helping his surrogate mom teach shelter visitors about big brown bats.
So here's Warren.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So see how he has 5 toes, just like we do on each foot? How cool is that? Some research has shown that some bats have lived 20+ years.
It's a unique learning experience for many of these kids.
He's so cool. And that's my first bat, like I saw up close. That was my very first one.
Warren's an incredibly valuable asset to our organization. He helps raise awareness not only about his species, but all bats in general, and I would say even wildlife.
All right, buddy, what a day you've had.
After a day of hard work, it's time for this little bat to get some rest.
Good night. Bye, Warren.
I'm incredibly pleased and proud of what he has become. Our bond has only increased. We interact more and more every day. Scotts Creek, Southeast Australia.
Here, Wendy and Warren Couch share their working family farm with over 100 animals.
Come on, Nikki. Alpaca time. Hey.
The couple always takes their golden retriever Nikki when checking on their animals.
Girl, eh? How about that? Hey, boys and girls, how are you? Hey. Hello, Monty. How are you, mate? Hey, good?
Nikki's personality, to sum her up, she's everybody's mother.
I haven't got any more for you. Look.
While Nikki's known to be the maternal nurturer, her most unlikely surrogate daughter is Alana, a camel.
Alana and Nikki almost became friends almost immediately.
People can see the genuine love between them.
It was luck and kindness that brought this unusual pair together.
Nikki, we got from a breeder who didn't want her anymore. When we picked up Nikki, she was scared, very easily frightened. She used to cringe a lot if you lifted a broom or a stick or something. She might have been beaten with a stick or a broom.
About a year later, the timid dog gained trust and made friends. Then, Wendy got a call from a camel breeder who had an abandoned camel.
Alana's mother just didn't produce milk. The mother walked off and left it. The owner of the camel tried everything to induce the camel, but it wouldn't work. We said we'd take it on board and see what happens.
Alana arrived at the farm the day she was born.
I thought, oh my God, she's a prehistoric animal. You know, like a really big cricket. And she didn't look very pretty at all. And then when she sat down, the poor thing, she didn't know what to do with her legs. It was my first time I'd ever seen a baby camel, you know, that was only a matter of hours alive.
The newborn's fragile state was a matter of life or death.
We were told we only had a 50-50 chance of it surviving.
With a lot of love and care and 10 bottles of milk a day, Alana survived. Then, Nikki added her motherly touch.
Alana really didn't know what her mother was and who she was. I guess Alana thought, you know, this is good enough for me. This is my mum from now on.
Within hours, Nikki had given up her bed and shared it with Alana.
You come back. Hello, beautiful.
1 year later, these unlikely friends are still at each other's side.
When people see Alana and Nikki, they don't really believe what they're seeing. I think Nikki does still have that effect on Alana, that I'm your mum.
Alana and Nikki play with the other animals on the farm.
Alana can be full of fun. Yeah, she's very, very gentle. She just nibbles with her mouth, and she's great.
That's a good idea.
At 6 feet tall, Alana's a giant next to her canine companion.
Seeing a dog and a camel so friendly with each other is extremely rare. There's such a drastic difference in size. It's a testament to Nikki's nurturing personality and Alana's attachment to her.
Although Alana's all grown up now, Nikki still keeps a watchful eye on the camel she helped raise. At the end of the day, these unlikely animal pals prove that size doesn't matter in friendship.
That affection, that bond, that's still there, and I believe it'll always be there.